Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Roundup. This is another episode of On the Field. Today I have a special guest. He is a member of the White Sabers for 2024, Mr. Eli. He marched tuba, I believe. All right, Eli, welcome
Yes.
to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Hey, no problem. So, how was your 2024 season?
So I had a really good time. I loved being in DCI. DCA was it was good. Um it was just I've always wanted to march in actual DCI, not in like the minor leagues of DCI. So being able to be in DCI, I mean, be whoops be in DCI was really,
Yeah.
really cool. I noticed that DCA wasn't really as good as DCI is in the way that it promotes itself. It was definitely DCI obviously has a lot more reach in general. So um the shows they're a lot bigger crowds and everything. So you could the it's just the crowds are way bigger, which is a big thing for me. I know it shouldn't really impact you at all. It didn't really impact me, but it just is like, wow, people are seeing us and they're getting a lot more exposure because we're in a crowd that's 500 people rather than maybe 100 or 250 or whatever, because that's what we got at DCA finals. Was the
Mm-hmm.
crowd was basically families and close fans of the cores. At least that's what it felt like to me. But it's like when you go to Lucas Oil and everything, you actually have people who are paying to be there who enjoy seeing what we do, even though we're not blue coats and Phantom and all the big cores that everyone loves to see. They're still like, yeah, these people might be a little bit older or might be can't afford it or whatever it is, that they're still practicing every weekend. They're still putting time and sweat into it, and they're not like they're not it's not like they don't care, because people, it felt like in DCA people just didn't really pay us a lot of respect because, yeah, we're in DCA, we're not even related to DCI, so why should we care? um I
Okay.
like DCI personally. I love it. I being able to be in Lucas Oil Stadium, and just you get to be with, we had DCI Rochester. So you had I don't remember all of them, but you had Academy, Colts, Cavaliers were the three that I remember specifically. Having those three in the same show that I'm in, even though you're separated by a few hour block, is really cool. You get to, you're not competing against them, but you're competing with them, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
in that sort of way. It feels like you're part of the whole family. You're not in you're it's not like they're at the adult table and you're at the kids table. You're all
Yeah,
kind of together,
exactly.
even though you're in the separate all age and sound sport and world class. You're just separated, but you're all kind of, it feels like you're more cohesive. It doesn't feel like you're completely separated like we were in DCA. So
Oh, okay.
I like it
Okay.
so far.
Very cool, very cool. So before we get too far, how did you get involved in music and drum corps and all that stuff?
So I started playing tuba when I was in fourth grade, which was I don't know, probably 2008 or nine. I don't remember exactly. It was a long time ago, and I don't, a lot of people that I know play, multiple different instruments. I'm just primarily tuba. I don't know how to play piano or guitar or any of that stuff. So I'm my main instrument is tuba. I like to say I'm pretty decent at it. Obviously I've playing for how long as I have, but um I did 4 years of marching band in high school. I marched at Victor. We won the championship in 2015, which was my sec my second year. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I did 1 year of indoor percussion in my senior year of high school. I didn't march an instrument. I was acting as someone, so I didn't play anything, but I was an integral acting part to it. Wasn't really, playing. I wasn't playing an instrument, so um, that was interesting. I had a blast doing it, but it was not what I'm used to because I'm
Oh,
not playing
okay.
an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
So after high school, graduated high school, I went to college for a semester, and I wasn't for me, so I didn't go back. And then after that, I had time. So in 2018, I was actually approached by someone in Skyliners, and they're like, "We want you, not we want you, but we're looking for people." So they
Okay.
know I play tuba. Obviously, tuba players in drum corps are very valuable. They don't come
Mm.
across tuba players a lot all the time. You get everyone plays trumpet and plays baritone, whatever, but you don't find a lot of tubas that come across like all the time.
Oh,
So they were
okay.
like, "We want you to come in March." So I looked at it logistically, and they were more expensive, which is obviously, it's not a knock against them. They were just more expensive, and they were farther away. They were in PA. I don't know exactly
Okay.
where in PA, but they were in PA. So it would have been 2 to 3 hours every weekend to go
Mm.
to a camp there. Farther, probably go for competitions, but
Yeah.
um, I went to and then I heard about Sabers, and they're like, yeah, we're in. At the time, they were in Dansville. They hadn't moved to Rochester yet, so they were in Dansville, and that was like an hour. So I was like, you know what, I'll give this a shot, and I went to open house in 18. I don't remember in 2018, which was my freshman year, I guess, what you want to call it. And they were like, yeah, we're great. You're a tuba player. We're gonna work with you and everything. And I had never held a contra before. So
Okay.
18 for me personally was a hard year because it
Mm.
wreaked havoc on my back. I did not know how to hold the instrument. It was an older dynasty, which is fine. It's not what how blue coats, they use the ones with the big window where there's only 3 valves and there's no the extra tubing going up the side. They had four,
Oh,
so they were
okay.
not light at all. They were
Mm.
heavy, which is it wasn't that big of a deal. It was just I used to play sousaphone, so all the weight was on my shoulder. And now that I
Okay, I
don't
got
have
you.
that wrapped around me, it's all on the
On your
arms and the upper
arms.
shoulders and everything. So I didn't I didn't not that I didn't know what I was doing, but I would play where I would arch my back trying to get the weight off my arms, and it was not. I messed up my back for a little bit of time. It was fine. Like, I learned how to hold the instrument by 2019, which was my second year. I was fine. I switched to a different tuba, and I was good after that. But I learned how to hold it properly, so it was kind of a lesson to me about that I can't hold it that way and can't arch my back a certain way, because if I do, and I do it for, you know 10, 12 hours a day on Saturday and all day on Sunday, it's gonna mess up part of my body, and it did. So I kind of had to go through that process of it not of it kind of hurting me, I guess, not holding it properly, for me to get to how to hold it properly. And now I'm fine. I know what I'm doing now, but it took that one season for you to get kind of learn how to hold it and how not to hold it, because at least from my perspective, I know when I'm holding it right and when I'm not, because I can feel it properly. So now I know when I'm not doing it correctly, and I can adjust. um I would say that 18 was my first year. I believe that was Convergence. If you remember, the show was with the tarps and stuff, which were
Okay.
I won't even touch on that. But if people listen, they're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about when I say burn the tarps, because they were terrible.
Mm.
They were
Okay.
they were terrible to march on. Anyway, and then 19 was Bond, which was, in my opinion, one of Sabres' best years in a long, long time. I know a lot of veterans for Sabres will think that Waterways, which was 2017, was one of the best years. But for me, since I marched it, I thought 19 was a killer year. We had a really good horn line. The tuba line was fantastic. The show was just written really well. The drill was amazing. Everything about the show was just, it clicked perfectly, and it showed. Because if I remember, we got fourth that year. We were in world class, because we were still pretty big. That year, that was obviously the year before COVID, and COVID kind of
Mm-hmm.
threw a wrench in everything. So I think it was, we were in the top. We were competing with Bucks and CV and Cabs. We were in the top four. So we were giving everyone else a run for the money, which was cool, because everyone
Yeah.
else was. It was a good time, making everybody kind of not scared, but they were like, oh, Sabres is coming out of the gate and they're swinging. So
Mm-hmm.
at least from my perspective, we were coming, we were going for everybody, which was cool. I didn't end up marching in 2020, obviously, because COVID and all that stuff. And then 21 and 22, I didn't march either, because I was working. and then 23 I ended up going to their little preview show in Batavia, and one of the techs who he knows he is got me kind of back into it. And I was like, the tuba line is a little shaky, I'll say. They weren't gelling as well as they could have been. So he said
Okay.
they're all of them were they're all good players. They were all noobs. They were all
Mm.
first years. So they said
Okay.
they need someone who's a vet to come into the line and kind of pull it all, bring it all together. And I said, if I talked with the director and we worked something out, and I jumped back in about halfway through the season of 2023. So I'll count it as a full season, but I basically jumped in a few weekends before shows started. So I learned the whole show in 2 weekends, music and everything,
Jeez. Wow.
and um got all of it done. Maybe I was maybe lagging a little bit behind as I'm trying to learn the whole thing and everything. So um, I learned all the show and everything, and then I marched the rest of the season. And then I came back this year because they announced the end of last year that we're going to DCI, and I'm like, well, come on, I can't jump out now. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna go to Lucas Oil, we're gonna see all the big cores. Like, I'm not just gonna leave and not come back. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I, you know, marched the whole season, went to all the winter camps that we had in Rochester, and did all that, did all the stuff, and then did this whole season. So,
Oh,
and
cool.
had a blast doing it.
Nice. Are
So
you planning to March next year?
I am
Oh,
actually.
nice. Okay,
Um,
cool.
yeah, I didn't think I
Very
was going
cool.
to, but I got stuff going on in that I'm planning to march next year, and then the 25 will be probably my last, since life is gonna move on after that. So I'm gonna probably do next year, and then I'm probably gonna bow out after that. So I've had
Okay.
5 years. That's a pretty good run. I feel
Yeah,
like that's what
seriously,
people
that's
should
good.
have. I don't want to be in the in one core for like 10 years or 12 years. I think like 5 is a good sweet spot. It's not
Okay.
you're not in there for like a year and then you leave and never come back, and it's not you're 12 or 17 years and you're always there.
Mm-hmm.
Like um so I think 5 is the good spot for me, and I think I'm just gonna kind of let my reputation, I guess, speak for itself. Is what I would
Oh,
do.
okay. That's cool. So, what is one of the best things about marching in the White Sabers?
Um, it's a hard question because I got a lot of good things.
Mm.
Um, I had I had a very very good um uh brass tech. His name is Matt Yeager. He's phenomenal. He's great. He's amazing. He knows how to get the emotion out of you, which is something I'm not used to. He's very um if you've ever seen him conduct, I don't know if you have, but he's very, how some people will conduct and they'll body will be straight and they won't really put any emotion into it. He'll
Mm-hmm.
do the polar opposite. He'll be swinging his arms around and he'll be moving his chest and everything, and the horn line, at least in my experience, responds with how they play, with how the conductor looks, or how the conductor
Mm-hmm.
puts emotion into it. So if they're standstill and they don't really care, that's then the horn line's gonna, yeah, they might play loud, but they're not gonna, it won't feel like they care about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yep.
like, I know that someone who's not musically inclined won't get it, but if someone who would listen to it understands, they get what I mean. So it's like,
Yeah.
you can he'll conduct whatever, and he'll get really into it, and then like it'll pull it out of me to play as much as I can, and breathe and play as loud as I can. And then when I'm playing as loud as I can play a measure, and then I gotta breathe because I'm pushing so much, because it's because he's pulling for it, and you're
Mm-hmm.
giving it to him because that's what he wants. And
Yeah.
that's really really cool for me. I love that. I don't love someone who's like, like, oh, he's like this doesn't care attitude. Like, I don't want to march for that. Doesn't make you want to
Exactly.
give it up for him on the field.
Exactly.
um I had a tech in 2019, no, 2018, 2019. His name was Randall. I believe he's a teacher at Baldwinsville. It's somewhere up here. It's near Syracuse. And he started out, if I remember correctly, he started out as a just the tuba tech, and then he kind of went to the whole like horn line thing. Like when Matt would go and do other stuff, he would take over and do all that. So he would
Okay.
kind of be like the 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 whole horn line tech, I guess, not just for the tubas, but he was very cool. That like the tubas and I and him would all joke around about stuff, and we'd give him we'd give him shit for stuff and everything, and that's kind of how we went back and forth. And we got, not him and I, but the tubas and him got really close, and the
Oh, good.
unit
Okay.
got really really good together. That's why 19 was so good. Is that
Mm.
the tubas especially had a was a it was we had strong marchers, we had strong players, and we got a lot of different stuff. Um, we got a lot of different people from different areas kind of all brought together, and they I'll wait for him. Make sure you hear me.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're good.
Yep.
No, he got all of us kind of he was just like, man, he would pull, he wouldn't conduct like him physically, but you could tell that he wanted us to play the best for him and not like half-ass it. So we didn't. I never did. I always gave him, I always, if I screwed up, I was, he would help me. He wouldn't be like, oh yeah, he'd be like, oh yeah, you're playing like shit, and I'll be like, okay, and then he'll help me. He wouldn't just be like he wouldn't just like uh give you stuff for it and then not help you. He would like, oh, a little bit of Raz, and then he'd help you out with it, and you'd figure it out, and it'd be easy. But he was also a teacher, so I'm assuming he was already pretty good at that anyway, because
Mm, okay.
he'd already been teaching anyway. So that was probably just his teaching just coming into play. But I liked playing for him a lot. He didn't come back fortunately after that. He had to do other stuff, which is fine. Um, then we had a tech this year. His name was Will Turner. He came from the Cabs, I believe. Yeah, in New Jersey, yes. And he was kind of came as a first year tech, and again the same thing happened. He would make us want to give it all for him. Not like, again, all the texts I want to talk about are all they all care about what they do, and they all want to make sure that you do the best as you can. And there are definitely moments, not in the tubas, but in the core in general, where they would be like, okay, you guys aren't, I get it, it's hot, you're tired, you're thirsty, whatever, but you have to give us more. Like I get it, you're tired, but like you got to push, because
Mm-hmm.
if you don't push now, like what the hell is going to happen when we get to finals? Like if I can't pull it out of you now in the middle of December or whatever, then what's going to happen when we get to August? And like it's when it you're gonna if you pull it out now and it's coming out of you now and you're good now, then you're gonna be really good and you're gonna be phenomenal in August. But if you're not good now and you don't give us the effort now, it's not gonna mean anything. So
Exactly. Exactly.
that's what all the text did. I don't know. I can't speak for a drum line or color guard or front ensemble or any of that, but I can just speak for the horn line, that they were personally really good at what they did. Obviously, they're all teachers, so they all know what they're doing. But I feel like they didn't have to really hold back. As you know, we're all adults or kids who are near 18 years old, so they can let it rip in a sense if they need to. If they need to, give us a kick in the pants to get going, then they'll do it. But they don't do it out of spite. They do it out of trying to get you to be better, which I
Mm-hmm.
would think every core would do. But it was very very evident that they cared a lot for everyone, and they wanted everybody to do as best as they could, which I'm assuming they did a lot, because they I thought they did phenomenal all the time. So yeah.
That's awesome. When you were saying about the conductors, how they really bring out the performance in the show, I was thinking about
Uh
watching Carrie McCourt and Phantom, because her emotion that
yes,
she
exactly.
brings, and
Exactly. Yes.
you can tell when the drum major's in it, the core is in it, and that is
Hmm.
special, and that's really cool.
So I would yes, I you hit the nail on the head. It's exactly like that. There's a I don't know if there's any videos of it, but I might have a video on my phone about this where so our core song is the same as Scouts Did You Never Walk Alone.
Oh,
Matt just
okay.
arranged it a little bit.
Oh,
So
cool.
when he'll conduct it, he gets really into it. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's swinging his arms around and he's really into it, right? And that's when the emotion comes out because there's parts where it's quiet and you got the trumpet solos and everything, and then there's parts where it's like four Fs and you're playing as loud as you can for about as long as you can until you almost pass out. And it's 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 the him being emotional, being into it makes that song 100 million times better. If it wasn't like how I talked about Randall would conduct it and he would just go straight, no emotion. It just wasn't the same. It's still good. It's not the same because it doesn't you don't have the emotion coming back and it doesn't bounce off each other. Like when you
Yeah.
get it from him and then you give it back and it kind of is everyone's giving it the feeling is indescribable. I know people who listen will understand what I mean when I say it's like when you walk up the field at the end of a show. It's like you're in euphoria is the best I can
Mm-hmm.
describe it for someone who hasn't marched or hasn't done something like that. It's the feeling is it's I can't put in the words what it feels like. It's amazing. It's great.
Yeah,
So yeah.
definitely. So I was just watching your 2024 show, right before we came on actually, and I really enjoyed this show actually. I really thought you guys did a great job. The props
Yeah.
and really cool show.
Yeah. It was fun to play Mars. I like playing Mars a lot. Mars. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I had played Mars before in like sit down band and like in like school, but like
Mm-hmm.
that was in like seventh or eighth grade for me. So it wasn't like we were all trying to figure out just to count 5/4, and now we're
Oh,
playing
okay.
with people who are obviously either college or professional musicians or they're just really really good at what they do. So
Yeah.
it was. I love marching Mars. I thought it was fantastic. No, I liked their show. I think it was really good. Yeah, I,
Mm,
I would
okay.
I would have to agree.
Yeah. What makes marching arts and drum corps special to you?
Um, I would say that like when I went back to earlier with the feeling of walking off the field, that is what does it for me. It's what makes it worth it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you I remember specifically at Lucas Oil Stadium, which was probably the best spot for this to happen because it's you're in Lucas Oil. You're throwing everything you can at this, and everyone's trying the best, and they're going for it because it's the last time. You don't have another shot at this, so you might as well go for it. Um, I always went for it on every other like everyone's like they always emphasize don't like save it. Don't be like, oh, I got Lucas Oil next week. Let's just save it for then. Like, no, like give it now. Don't wait. You
Mm-hmm.
can you can save it up and give it next week. Like, don't just save it and not go for it. I went for it all the time. I always went for it. But everyone was really going for it at Lucas Oil. But the what I think is the best thing to me that makes it worth it, it worth all the money, all the driving, all the time you're spending on the road, all that stuff makes for it is when you hit the last note and everyone's standing ovation is it's excuse me again it's indescribable. You can't you feel I'm gonna try to describe it. You feel proud. You feel like you've accomplished something, even though you might not win, which that doesn't really matter. But like you feel like you've done the best show. Because if you don't put everything out there, then you feel like you still have something left to give. So if you don't do that, then you're gonna feel like, oh, I didn't go for that note, or I didn't march to my best way, or whatever it is. Um, I think personally for me, I think it's that feeling because we got that at the end of our show, and it was like I can't I'm gonna keep referencing this entire time, but it's this feeling I cannot describe. You can't I don't I've felt it nowhere else. I don't know if it's just the energy in the building or the people around you. Maybe you're with people that you like marching with, or you're doing the thing that you love or whatever. It's the feeling of absolutely throwing down, and you knew you did a good show, and the people in the stands appreciate it and will are willing to spend money to come see you, are there committing their time, and then they show their appreciation by standing up and they're like, yeah, they're yelling and everything. It's just it's so cool to me. I love it. And I know everybody else, you can people who I'm friends with, who my girlfriend who I march with, she's in the guard. She has
Oh,
the same
cool.
feeling.
Okay.
And I've got buddies who are in every section, and they all say the same thing. And you walk um it's also the beginning and the end of it, like going down the tunnel. And it's like I get in this mode personally where before the show I get very serious. Like, are you talking to me right now? It's like it's like a switch is flipped. It's like the switch is flipped. It's like it's time to go. I'm not worrying about stuff I got to do at home and
Hmm.
work, and also the stuff I have to think about. It's
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 game
all the
time.
thing exactly all the thing I'm focusing on is how I'm gonna do the show, how good I'm gonna do it, and how I'm gonna nail this part and this part. I'm gonna play this note correctly and whatever it is. It's like when you walk out the tunnel, it's just like I'm assuming it's the same with athletes. With you walk out the tunnel for a football game, and the guys they're locked in, they're ready to go. It's the same thing. It's the same
Hmm.
thing. You're just not running out. You're just walking out with your instrument. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So that feeling of being locked in and nothing else matters. It's like tunnel vision for me. I don't know about how other people might do it differently, but I do it tunnel vision. It's nothing else matters in these next 12 minutes until I'm done. Then I can come out of it and I'm good. I'm back to normal. But the 10 minutes
Okay.
is it's all about how I and the people around me, no matter who changes around me drill wise, can put the best show together, and how they can make the crowd stand up and be like, wow, that was a really good show. I loved your show because of everybody in the field putting in their best effort. If you have
Hmm.
someone who's slacking off and not giving 120%, then then you focus on them. Because if
Yes.
you see everyone is marching, straight leg or bent leg or whatever it is, and they're all doing it correctly, and have the one person who's not, or they're not putting in their best effort because they're tired or whatever, then it's like they're gonna stick out because everyone else is trying and you're not. So
Hmm.
that's when that's that's why I try to make sure that everybody's is going, because it's like, okay, we need to go now. So you need to not I'm trying to like get you to go for it, but I am kind of actually I am being like, okay, I'm gonna push you. If you're not gonna push yourself, I'll do it for you. And you might not like me for it, but that's fine. But I'm gonna give you motivation and be like, I need you to lock in. And once you're done, then do whatever you want. But
Hmm.
during these 10 minutes, just lock in and do it. Um, to get back to your question, I derailed clearly.
No, it's
I think
okay.
I think I think it all goes back to that feeling. It's the feeling that for me. Yeah, I know you can't describe it, but it's like it's just what it is. I can't describe the feeling for you, but that's what it is for me. Um, that's why I do this. That's why I drive all these hours and pay all this money and do whatever, because I'm chasing that feeling. It has
Hmm.
nothing to do with medals or rings or anything. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's a
it'd be nice.
bonus on top.
Exactly. It'd be nice to win a medal. It'd be cool. But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Hmm.
I just chase that feeling. And once I get it, it's there for a short time, then it goes away. That's why I
Okay.
keep doing it, because like,
Yeah.
yeah, when you walk off the feeling off the tunnel and you're all like hyped up and everything, and then it goes away. So I'm always chasing the next one. Like the next
Yeah.
show, I'm gonna get that feeling. If I do a really good job, if I don't, then I might not get as good as a feeling as I might if I go for all the time, which I usually
Hmm.
do. But that's obviously based on a person to person basis. So I
Yeah.
personally go for it all the time. So I'm always giving it my all. Um, I might have to push myself harder if if it's super hot. if it's humid, if it's rainy, if it's cold, if it's whatever. Um, I might have to do that to myself personally, but I just try to do my best and try to help people around me as much as I can. And that's it goes back to the feeling and the family aspect kind of. Um, I know people are like, oh, there's people in my family and everything, and it's like you get close with these people because you're with them for 20 hours a
So
week.
much. Yep.
On Yeah, you're
Mhm.
with them for 12 hours on a Saturday and another what 6 or 8 depending on the core on Sunday. That's what about a little bit over 20 hours a weekend every
Yeah.
weekend for 6 7 months. So you get to know these people really really well, and
Mhm.
some you might jive with and some you might not, and that's fine. It's just it's who you can who you can push, I guess. Um,
Okay.
I tend to if I'm really close with someone, I know that I can that I can kind of push them, they can push me, and I can be okay with it. But it has to be the right person. It can't be like someone that I have no idea. Like I can't go up to someone in guard and be like, "Hey, can you help me get in the mood for this?" Like they won't know because they're in guard.
Right.
They go to a guard person. They don't go to me.
Mhm.
Like we I usually go to the tubas and I'm like, okay, let's get ready to go because we're about to throw down and everything, and that's usually when I go get in the mood and the switch gets flipped and I'm game time until we're done. So I'm chasing that feeling too. That game time. I get that nowhere else really. It's only in this activity that I can get that. So
That's awesome.
that's really why I do it. Is that
That's cool.
and the after the show. Though it's before and the middle. The middle is great, but when you think about it, the middle, like you doing the show, is is very short in the grand scheme of the feeling. The beginning is really long. Is uh it's like the if you do like a solo, the beginning, the waiting outside the room is the worst part because you're so nervous for the guy to actually come out and have you come play your solo. I did solos in high school just to clear that up. But it's like
Mhm.
the worst part for me was to waiting outside the room and I'm like my heart's going crazy. My stomach is going, once you start, it's fine because you've practiced it so many times and once you start it's like autopilot. So, you start
Mhm.
playing, you start going, and you're fine. Like by 2 minutes pass by, you're halfway through. You're like, that was halfway through. Like that's crazy. I didn't even know that it'd be that quick. And then when you get done, it's like this huge relief is what it is. But you don't remember the part where you played the solo. You remember the beginning and the after. So the
Mhm.
part where you march it, yeah, it's long while you're doing it. You get tired and everything, and that's fine. But you remember how you felt in the beginning. At least I do. I remember how I feel in the beginning, and then yeah, I got tired in the middle, but I threw it on really good, and then I felt amazing after it.
That's awesome.
That's what it is for me. Is the blocks on the beginning and the end, and the
Mhm.
middle of the show is it's there, but it doesn't mean as much as the beginning and the end do for me. I don't know
Okay.
how other people do, but I love the beginning and the end of it. Um, the middle is just what I would say the beginning, the pre-show kind of you're getting in the mood. You're kind of I set expectations for myself. I'm like, I'm gonna hit this part visually or musically or whatever. And then when I get off the field, how I feel is how I based on if I tick the boxes in my head. So if I have 3 bullet points I want to hit and I hit all three, I feel really good at the end because I've hit all my points. But if I missed all three, I'll walk off and I won't feel good because I won't I might have nailed everything else, but the three that I set out to hit, I didn't hit.
Mhm.
So I feel like not that I failed, but I feel like I didn't accomplish what I set out to accomplish. So then I'll feel like I didn't do enough. I know I've probably been fine in the grand scheme of things, but in my mind, I didn't go all the way. I could have gone this much more and I would have been there, but I didn't and I didn't get it. So that's why, because
Okay.
every competition, I'm pushing myself personally to be better because I want to make sure I don't, if I messed up a move or whatever, last competition, I don't want to do it this one because I messed up last time, so I
Mhm.
shouldn't do it. I should know that I should nail it this time because I know I messed it up. So I want to make sure that I don't mess it up this time. So I'm always chasing the perfection. I know I'm never gonna get there. I'm never gonna have a perfect show, but I can always have a really, really, really good show and be this close off of perfection, and I can settle for that. So that's I would say that'd be my reason for
That's cool.
liking.
Awesome, awesome. Very cool. So what was the difference between marching for DCA versus DCI?
So I think I kind of touched on this in the beginning, but I'll
Mm-hmm.
go it over again. DCA was, I'm not gonna say it was trying to remember how DCA ran. It was like DCI, but less enthusiastic, is what it felt like to me. Yes, there
Really?
were a
Okay.
lot of shows, but the crowds were smaller. Which I know to a spectator might not seem like a big deal, but how the crowd reacts to your show is what's gonna, again, it's the same thing with the conductor in the line. How the conductor will react to you and you react to the conductor, the energy goes back and forth. So it's like if the crowd gets into it and they're like they're standing up and they're clapping and they're cheering and they're really into it, then it's gonna make us perform way better than, if you have a crowd that's just dry, it just doesn't care or whatever, because they're like, oh, it's the White Sabers, who cares, whatever. So they're not gonna, if they don't like play into it and they don't go with you with where the core's trying to take them on the story of the show, then
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna kind of fall flat. You might sound really good, but it's just gonna not sound as good as it should
Mm-hmm.
the if the crowd kind of is, all right, we're into this, we like this show a lot, it's really good. um I would say that the crowds are definitely smaller, which is a big thing for me, and I think for other people, it can affect more than you might think it would.
Mm-hmm.
Crowds were smaller. Venues were maybe not as good because you don't have the name of DCI. You have DCA, which, if you're not in not in DCI, if you're not in like the bubble and you know what it is, like I talk to people at work and they go, "What the hell is DCI?" Like they have no idea. So it's like
Okay.
I have to explain it to them what that is, and they don't know what DCA is, or not. When I was in DCA, that I'd have to explain what that is. But it's like I'm thinking it's like, so how you have like MLB and you have the minor
Mm-hmm.
leagues. It's like that for people who do marching band. Is what I
Yes.
explain to someone who's not musically inclined, doesn't know what it is. But if I talk to someone who's an Eastman student or whatever, like in Rochester, they would know what DCI is because they're musically inclined, so they know. But um, I do think that the fact that it's DCI and not DCA, that it get the name recognition, definitely helps out. There's more people. I've heard that there's more people who actually care about it. People in DCA didn't really seem to care a lot. I'm not trying to slander them at all, but it's like they
Mm-hmm.
just didn't seem like they really would care. The people at
Yeah.
DCI who obviously run all the course for all the big world class cores obviously have to care, but it feels like they actually do. They're not just getting paid to care. They actually do it if they got paid or not.
Yeah.
So um I don't know. The shows were bigger. It seemed like the venues were nicer. You got to see Blue Coats and Blue Devils and Crown, and you got to see Cavaliers and Blue Stars. And you got to all the courts everyone is talking about. You got to see that, and then you got to go on the same field as them, which is
Yeah.
also really cool. Like you never did that in DCA. Like we had
Mm-hmm.
we had championships at Rochester, and they had Lucas Oil. Like, and the crowd for last year was just not, it was kind of laughable if you ask me. It really wasn't very
Really? Oh
good.
wow.
Yeah, it was very, very
Mm.
small for championships. Yeah, it should have been way bigger.
Yeah.
But Lucas Oil, the crowd there was probably double the size, if not bigger,
Yeah.
which
I
was
heard
which
it.
was
I
great for
heard
me.
that. I was
Yeah,
really excited to hear that
it
because like.
wasn't, obviously I knew it wasn't going to be the size of like world class finals. Like we went there
Mm-hmm.
and it was packed. Obviously, it's world class
Yeah.
finals. People are going to go to that instead of DCIA all age. But comparing Lucas Oil, comparing Rochester from last year, it was a world of a difference. Way
Yeah.
different. Um, I would think that just the way they managed everything, everyone got their passes. I still have mine on my wall over here. Of you
Hmm.
got your name and performer, core, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You never got that in DCA.
Oh, okay.
They just I feel like you're part of something bigger. It's like it
Hmm.
felt like when DCA you were in something that just was kind of insignificant. Is
Yeah.
how I'm gonna phrase it. Um, Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. They it didn't feel like they were. Yeah, they said they cared, but like they can say whatever they want. You can just go, yeah, it doesn't feel like it. You can say it all you
Mm.
want, but it doesn't feel that way. It feels like you guys just kind of just like, okay, we're here, but we're not really here, you know.
Okay.
So um, that's what I would say for that. Pretty
Okay.
much. Yeah.
How was the championship experience out in Indy? How was that for you guys?
I thought it was great. They handled everything great. My director Ben, who is phenomenal, he's great. Everyone loves Ben. Any Sabres people who watches, but I know there might be some are gonna agree with me. Everyone loves Ben. Ben's great. He got everything logistically covered. Got all our stuff there. No, nothing. Nobody's stuff broke down or whatever. Which is obviously what every director wants. But
Hmm.
we got all there safe. We had a hotel. We got to do stuff. We got to go to we had a really good practice field. We got on turf, which is pretty rare, which is
Oh,
great. Obviously,
nice.
you don't have
Okay.
to march through grass where you have to, the blades are our blades are this high. You got to kind of figure out how to march through
Hmm.
that. Nice to march on turf. That was great. Um, I don't. They just everything was like I said with the last point. Everything felt like DCI had it down to a T. Like you're at the gate at this time. As long as you're there, which we were, you're on time. You go to the next step, and they just roll you through. But
Oh, okay.
everything, it was like a well-oiled machine. Everything was
Mm.
working exactly. You got on the field at the right time. You got your time to set up all your electronics, and all the props got set up, and everyone got to their spots on time, and then they started. And it's like it just felt like they knew what they were doing.
Mm, okay.
DCA kind of did, but not to this level. Like
Mm.
DCI knows what they're doing. They know how to have all these performers and all these massive cores that are there, and they know how to stage them and everything. And everyone got their stuff. It just felt like they knew what they were doing more than what
Yeah.
DCA did. DCA didn't do a bad job. It just feels like they knew what they were doing to a higher level, I guess. It,
Okay.
it, it just felt like they did a better job, in my
Mm.
opinion, of handling everyone's cores logistically, um, instruments, food, all that stuff, showers, especially that was a big deal.
Okay.
Showers could obviously be a pinch point for people getting ready for a show. They always had that
Hmm.
covered, which was obviously very very nice. That you could get ready for a show and everything. Um,
Yeah.
I thought that was I just think they just did a much better job than what DCA did. They didn't do a bad job, but it's better.
It was a
I would
step
say
up.
it's better. Yes, definitely a step up.
Hmm.
And you got that obviously as you're paying more, everyone's dues went up like a not a tiny not a ton, but a little bit. So you're kind of expecting that, and also you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm going into a much bigger corporation. I should expect to be not taken care of, but like, yeah, they know what they're doing. So you're kind of expecting for them to know, these guys are coming for the first time. Let's make sure they know what they're doing. So now next year, I'll kind of know what to expect and don't really have to, I gotta rely on everybody. I kind of know what the status quo is, I guess. You kind of have to
Yeah.
um you kind of know what's going to happen. But this year I had no idea. Obviously, no one had no idea because they were its first time. Second, third
Hmm.
time, however, you're going to know what you're doing, where you go and what time and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I think once you do it longer, you obviously know what you're doing. Like I knew what I was doing
Hmm.
in Rochester because I had marched there before. But Lucas Oil, I
Yeah.
had no idea because
Yeah.
it's first time being there for me. So
Hmm.
everyone was kind of like not panicking, but they're like, okay, we got to just follow. Now we kind of know what we're doing, so we might be
Okay.
a little bit better off next season.
Okay, cool. What are you most looking forward to for the 2025 season?
Um, I'm excited to go back to Lucas Oil.
Mm.
I'm chasing that high again of the you feel really good at the end. You locked in the beginning, like I said before. I'm chasing that again, and you get that a lot at Lucas Oil. Plus the being able to see all the other cores, you get to see Mass and Scouts and Phantom and Blue Coats and everyone they're all there, so you get to see everybody. Um,
Yeah.
and obviously I'm there with all my buddies and everybody that I
Hmm.
marched with, and that's always fun. And I personally, I know this might be a little bit of an odd statement, but the fact that everyone is wearing everyone, you get to see where everyone's from. Everyone has their core jackets on. I don't have mine on right now, but I got my Saber shirt on. Everyone, well, wrong. I got
Hmm.
my Saber shirt
Yeah.
on. So
Yep.
it's like, um, everyone has like their core jackets on. You see, mandarins and people from all age. You get fusion and bucks and cabs and sabers, and you get everybody, but they're all together in one big building. And you can see the fans who are like, he's an alumni of Blue Coats or whatever, and everybody who knows what's going on in DCI is all in one spot. And you all get to pick up, oh, they're from there and they're from there, and you get to see that everyone is from different parts of the world and from the country and everywhere are all coming to one spot, and they're all um uh enjoying the same thing together at the same time, which is really
Hmm.
cool. But and
Yeah.
also kind of like everyone's kind of in like a gangish together, I guess.
Oh, okay.
It's like all the Saber people sit together. You see all the cabs, because you could tell where all the jackets are sitting, and all the people are
Hmm.
kind of sitting together, so that everyone kind of stays together. And I like that a lot. That happens a little bit on the other shows, but it's nothing like it does at Lucas Oil. Everyone kind of sits together
Yeah.
and they all enjoy the shows together, and that's what makes it cool. Is that everyone around you, again, like the
Is there
core and the
for
crowd
one
and everything,
reason.
exactly. But they also appreciate what's going on. So
Yes.
when they cheer, I know what they're cheering for. Like we used to do football games in high school for a marching band, and we used to have to go onto the field. The people in the
Hmm.
stands, they don't care. They're
No.
football people. They're not
Yeah.
there for a marching band show. But the people in the drum corps shows are there to see you. That's what makes it so cool. Is that they're there because they know you're good and they want to see you. They don't like
Yeah.
if football players came out and they go, I don't care about this. That's not what I'm here for. So as long as you're
Yeah.
with the right people at the right time, it it makes everything, enjoying everything, really, really
Much better.
special.
Exactly.
Exactly. Like with
Yeah.
Phantom Show. I don't know if you watched Final. Were you at finals or
Oh yeah.
no?
Now
Yeah.
I watch it
The
on Flow.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
being in the audience for Phantom at finals
Oh
was
man.
the crowd was going nuts. It was absolutely insane. I happened to be on the if you're on the field looking at the field, I was on the far left side, so I didn't have a good seat.
Oh, okay.
But because I didn't pay for seats, so I just got the
Yeah.
nosebleeds on the side, which is fine. But
Yeah.
again, I'm with all my buddies in the side. I'm
Hmm.
sitting next to people that I've marched with for 6 months, and we're all stoked. We're all going crazy for the show because it was a good show. And we talking with the uh drum major was like, she stuck her hand out, she had the pseudo written on it, and it's like no one else would get that, and it's like everyone's going crazy, and she pulls a baton out of her hair, and it was great. And it's just no one else who's in the activity wouldn't get how cool that is. Only the
Yeah.
people who are in it would get it, and everyone's going nuts, and it was
Hmm.
it was great. And I think that show personally should have beat Blue Devils, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that the Blue Devils might have had a cleaner show, but I think the how the crowd reacted
The energy.
should have at least swayed the judges a little bit. I know it won't, but I think it
Hmm.
should have, because they had such an electric the yeah, fans were going crazy for that. So I mean, I was going crazy too. So I can't deny I wasn't going nuts. So um, but like after they went on, it just was like the crowd wasn't the same. Like Phantom, like everyone
Hmm.
was going crazy, and then Blue Devils went on. Yeah, they were good. They were
Yeah.
good. They were clean and everything, but it just
It
wasn't the
wasn't the
same.
same.
It
Yeah.
wasn't the
Exactly.
same. It's so that's kind of why I want to be back next year. Is
Mm.
I want to get, and I've heard that we now get semifinals, which will be really cool.
Yes,
Um,
that's so
yeah,
cool.
so we'll get two shots and not just one, which will be good, because then I get two
Yeah.
runs at it, which that'll be cool. Um, that's also why I want to go back. I want to get
Mm.
two shots instead of just one. So I want to have
Yeah.
another crack at it and see how I do.
Yeah, that's cool. And how
Yeah.
about them blue coats?
Oh yeah, it was phenomenal. It was so good. It was so good.
That's so.
I'm sad I didn't get like a front row seat.
Mm.
Um, but even on the nosebleed, it was still. They deserve to win. Their show was it was so good. I'm not gonna lie. I
It was
did
a
I
good
did
show.
kind of make fun of their uniform the first time I saw them. The red and the white didn't really make any sense, but it grew on me.
Yeah.
Um, I really like the flag feature. The
Oh,
when everyone stopped playing and you just hear the
that
flags.
was
I'm not a
great.
flag person. Like my girlfriend, she's in guard, so she gets it. I
Hmm.
thought that was cool. That
It
was really
was.
cool. And it's like I don't even look for that. She's like, look at the flags, and I'm like, I'm not looking for the flags. I'm watching the horn line because that's what I look for. That's
Yeah.
when you're in drum line, you watch the drummers. Everyone watch section because that's what they march.
Hmm.
So it's like the fact that I'm paying attention to that. Obviously, it's the only thing that's going on, but I'm paying attention to that, and I think it was cool. Speaks to the fact that how good it was. Because if
Yeah.
it wasn't good, obviously it would be good. But if it wasn't good, I wouldn't really care about it. But I care about it because it was really good, and that's what they were
Hmm.
obviously going for. So I thought that was. I would agree. I thought that was a very good show. What'd you think of Boston's show?
I liked it. It was. I like the colors. I love the ballad. I love True
Yeah,
Colors as a song, and
yeah.
it was just. It was really cool.
I thought it was very technically good.
Hmm.
I personally think that if it wasn't my favorite show, it was good. It
Hmm.
wasn't my personal favorite show. I would think that
Yeah.
I would probably put Blue Coats and then I put Phantom in second personally.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I would put Phantom in second, and then I would have put probably Boston in third and Blue Devils in fourth. Or maybe flip flop them too. But I would put I personally would have put Phantom over BD personally.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
that's just me.
Yeah.
I just didn't like their little Pokemon theme that they had going on in the middle.
I
That was
didn't
cool.
understand that.
It kind of
Not that
felt
the
like they just
Pokemon, but
yeah,
when they had that like that bumps,
yeah,
that part I didn't understand it. I kind
yeah,
of felt like it didn't flow like the
yeah,
other shows did.
yeah. Like they've had some BD has had some my favorite show of all time is 2014 BD. I know that's like,
Hmm.
everyone loves Tilt more and everything, and I love Tilt as well, but for me, I love Flenny-esque.
That
It's
was a
so
great show.
unbelievably clean. I know it's the highest scoring show of all time. I know people will argue that not Flenny-esque, Tilt is better, and I just don't think that it should have been that big of a point spread. I think wasn't
Hmm.
Tilt like a 97 and Flenny-esque was like a 99 something. I don't remember, but
I think
I don't
so.
remember
I'm not
exactly, but
sure.
it was. I think it should have been a lot closer. It was pretty. It was like a 2 or 3 point gap. It was
Hmm.
a pretty good spot in between. I think it should have been closer, but I still think BD deserved to win that year. They were just. I don't think anyone could have touched them. I think they were. It was so unbelievably clean that they were so off. They were in the stratosphere, and everyone else was still on ground level. For me
Yep,
personally, they
definitely.
were just
Yeah.
so good. Um, yeah,
How
that's what I
about
would say.
Crown for you?
Um, I don't know about Crown. I watched it at finals and I thought it was good. I thought other years were better though.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
good, but I think they came out hot score wise and then they kind of just plateaued.
Yeah.
They didn't really, BD and Blue Coats, they were all going up every year, every competition. They were going up and up and up, and they were kind of just
Crown
they were
was
going up,
just.
but they were going up not the same amount that everyone else was, and that kind of they got what fourth? No, they got fifth, I think,
They
right?
got fifth. Yeah.
Yeah, they got fifth. Yeah, they got passed by Phantom, which I totally agree with. I
Oh
think Phantom
yeah,
definitely
definitely.
had a better show. Um,
Hmm.
but they were not bad by any means.
Yeah.
They were good, but I don't think I think that where they got placed was probably about what I would think.
Yeah. I think
It just
the ending I think was just I felt off to me.
mhm,
After the beginning couple minutes, it just the ending just I don't know.
yeah. I mean I don't understand how they don't win brass anymore. That horn line is so good.
Yeah.
They've always had a killer horn line. They haven't won brass since I think what I don't remember the last. I know the last time they won was in 2013, I believe. with
That was
the
the perfect score.
yeah,
Eve
yeah.
was empty square.
Yes.
That was a great
That was a great
show.
show.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't think they've won since then, which I
Yeah.
don't think 2014 when they had the Out of This World, that was a space show, I believe. But
That
yeah,
was a
but
good show.
you had to compete with Tilt and Fellini-esque, and like there was no way they were gonna win that year. It was a really good show. There was no way they were gonna compete with those two. I don't know what
No.
they got that year, but I think that was 2014 for me was like a glory year. They
Hmm.
had every core had a really good show. Um, yeah, I think every core kind of came out swinging that year, and everyone was just they were just back and forth, and they were all just they were really good. So
Hmm.
yeah.
So what advice or do you have for people that are considering joining All Age that have marched before or coming into All Age that have never marched?
Um, I would say if you can't get into um if you can't get into a world class core, like I would say unless you're like a prodigy or something, you can just go for blue coats or BD or crown or someone that's at the top. But if I was young enough to try for world class, I would have started maybe in the bottom five or bottom seven or something like that, or maybe even lower than that. I don't know, but maybe I would have tried out for Madison
Hmm.
or Colts or Academy or maybe Blue Stars or Blue Knights or someone that's not in like top five. Like I'm not talking like you don't want to shoot right for the stars and go for Phantom or something like that. Like
Yeah.
unless you're really good and you think you got the confidence to go for it, then go for it. But I would say if I had years to do it over, I would probably go for maybe Colts or Academy, and then I would maybe
Okay.
I take my shot at Cavies or Blue Coats or something like that. I wouldn't just jump right in. I'd need the experience. But if you can't get into Colts or someone on the lower part of the top 25 or whatever it is, then I say would go for all age because that's good to get a taste of it, but you're not getting thrown like into the deep end.
Hmm.
So you're still working on the weekends, but you're still if you got school or work or whatever it is, or you're just hanging out or whatever all week, then you have that. But I would say go for try Sabers out. Go for if you want to go for the world class ones, you can try CV. I think Bush is in world. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're
CV,
in world.
Bush, Cabs, Bucks. You try some of the bigger ones if you want to get if you want to actually audition and get a and get a shot at those, and then maybe after you get experience there, then you can try for a core, and that might help you out. You'll know what's like to march all age, and you'll be able to get that little bit of experience, and then maybe you'll have a better shot at getting in world. But if you want to, I'd say just screw it and go for it. I would say you don't have enough
Okay,
time.
cool.
I would say go for it. But if you wanna if you've got 5 6 years to march, I would say start at all age. Do at least a
Hmm.
year and then start sending start take a shot at a bunch of different cores and just see what lands because you might
Yeah.
hey I took a shot at Madison and I landed and I thought I wouldn't get it and I got it and now I'm in. So it's like
Hmm.
I would say just if you got a lot of time, try all age. If you do a year and you like it and then you want to go for a top 12 or go for whatever you want. It's up to the person obviously, but you want to you I think getting experience in the lower one is better than just being you're straight out of
Jumping
high
right
school.
in.
I'm gonna go right for the top. It's I for me that's not a smart play. I would rather
Yeah.
someone go for a bottom one and get the experience, and then they can say, "Hey, I already marched there. I'm just gonna go for a big one." So then
Hmm.
it would probably improve their chances greatly.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, what is the audition process at White Sabers?
So the last 4 years I've been there, they really didn't audition people. They really didn't audition as in 2018 and 19. If you've ever seen those videos at all, the horn line was big. We're talking like 40, 50 people. Like for
Oh
Sabers,
wow, okay.
that was big. Like you're
Yeah.
like you can compete with Bucks has always had a full horn line. I'm talking
Hmm.
10 tubas. Their stuff is always full, right? They always got a
Yeah.
really, really big horn line. We were competing in their headspace of size.
Hmm.
So um they would that year 18 19 they could really kind of weed out some people, and I remember they also had a lot of people come, and they kind of just kept all of them. That's what it's been for the last 3 or 4 years that I've marched, is that in
Oh, okay.
23 and 20 I don't remember 23 because I came in halfway in, but
Hmm.
24 whoever kind of came to the camps, people didn't get cut. They kind of either couldn't do it, couldn't afford it, couldn't commit time to it, or they didn't want to do it and they just left.
Oh,
So they
okay.
never really got cut. They just decided to not do it.
Mm.
So um I showed up, and I was in it, and the guys who showed up to do play too with the other four guys were the guys who came at the camps.
Okay.
So they didn't really audition. They kind of
Mm.
just showed up, and as long as you didn't, completely like were really really bad or whatever, then like they were gonna take you. They weren't gonna say no.
Oh,
And,
okay.
even if you weren't like that good, or you didn't play an instrument, or you didn't march, they'll teach you. Like they're not gonna say no. Like the only corps I know that would turn you away would be like a world class corps, because
Yeah.
they're coming in expecting you to know how to march, how to play, how to do the two, and how to choreograph and do all that stuff.
Hmm.
Like that's the advantage of all age for me, is that you can come in. I could play flute and not know how to play an instrument at all, and I'd come in and I could say, I want to play tuba, and they, okay, we'll teach you. You might not be the
Yeah.
best at it, but
Hmm.
they'll still teach you. I had a buddy
Okay.
in 2019 who had marched guard for the past 12 years. He wanted to play tuba. He marched tuba that year. He
Oh,
might not have
wow.
played the
Okay.
entire time, but he marched the whole show. Like
Yeah.
he might have been, I'm so tired I can't play, whatever. But like you got seven other guys who are covering for you. You can
Hmm.
drop out for a bar or two and you'll be fine. No
Yeah.
one's gonna know that you're not playing.
Hmm.
Especially if you're on the fit and everybody else is playing. So it's gonna be fine in that instance. But um, I do think that trying to think. What was the question again? Sorry, I just brain fart.
Um, what was I? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh.
I brain fart. I can't remember.
No, it's okay.
Oh, audition. Is that what it was?
Yeah,
Audition
yeah.
process.
What was the
Yes,
audition
yes,
process?
correct,
Yes.
correct. Sorry, brain
Sorry.
fart for a minute. So they just didn't they really would kind of take whoever they could get. They didn't really have to weed anybody out. Um, I've heard that that's different in other all age corps. They might have to um they might you might get a bunch of people out at the audition day, and then um they might have to turn people away, but that really wasn't the case with Sabers. They kind of take whoever they get, and they would kind of go in stride with you.
Oh,
So that's what
okay.
I like. But they didn't really get. It was kind of disappointing to me that I thought that us being incorporated in DCI would have given us a bigger outreach, so we would have gotten more people at a camp, and it
Yeah.
was it was I it was less people than I thought it would. We only had like a 34-person horn line. It wasn't that big.
Yeah.
I was hoping for more, but we still sounded good. Like
Hmm.
don't discredit that we didn't sound good, but like I thought we would have gotten a bigger turnout, and we kind of didn't. So it was kind of
Oh,
a
okay.
letdown for me personally, but
Yeah.
that I was hoping we would have gotten more, but we still got
Mm.
people in. So
Yeah.
people came from other corps, and they people are always looking for other places to march, and everyone's looking at well, maybe if we go here, and they got to weigh other options out. And some people came
Hmm.
because they wanted to be in a bigger corps, or a corps that was in a higher class, or whatever. Because we had a few people come from a different corps that was in a lower class, and they came to Sabers, and we were in a higher class than, or we were competing against them, or whatever. It's people are going to come. Everyone's going to be looking around. They're not going to be stuck in one corps forever. Everyone's going to be weighing their options.
Yeah.
Um, and that's that. Yeah, they didn't really have an audition process. It was
Oh,
kind of
okay.
just take who they would get, and then if they had to cut people, either if it was disciplinary reasons or they just didn't want to be there, and they just because we've had people. I'm obviously not going to name names, but we've had people who would be in the corps and then either miss practice, not really seem like they cared, or just it mainly was not be there. If you weren't
Oh,
there for
okay.
multiple weekends in a row, they would cut you. Like they
Yeah.
didn't want to cut you, but they had to because you weren't there. You weren't pulling your weight like everybody else was. Everybody else was
Mhm.
there. If it was raining and everyone else was miserable and you're not there because you don't want to be there because it's raining, we can't have you be on the core. You can't be in the line if that's going to happen.
Yeah,
So then they're
exactly.
gonna they're gonna cut you, and they again they didn't want to, but sometimes they had to because of that reason. So
Yeah.
didn't really like doing it, but had to.
Mhm. Have you heard any like how the interest has been for this coming year? Has it increased or anything?
I haven't talked to any. I haven't talked to our social media person who handles all that. She usually knows, but I haven't seen anything about it. I
Okay.
don't know when they're open houses because personally, I've been looking around and seeing if I can go, as this will be my last year, 2025. I'm looking around and seeing if I can seeing what other people have to offer is
Oh,
what
okay.
I'm gonna say for now. So I'm not really,
Yeah.
I'm not exclusive to Sabers right now. I'm kind of seeing what everybody else is offering and how much they cost and where they are and what their line's gonna be like and stuff like that. So I want to see what people have to offer. So I don't know personally. I bet you if you go on Instagram, they'll probably be posting about it, but I haven't seen a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of
Mhm.
I haven't seen a lot of what's been going on. I'm pretty sure they're probably trying to recruit, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of waves been making on social media, especially on Instagram about that. So I don't know personally, but I'm assuming it'll be more people, but everyone's
Okay.
hopeful every year. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be, you could be a terrible it could be a terrible turn on, you have no idea. But maybe you get
Yeah.
lucky and there's like a ton of people there.
Mhm.
So you really have no idea. Um
Okay.
yeah.
How much is the tuition at White Sabers?
Um I I believe it was 1,200, I think. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
pretty cheap in the grand scheme of things. I know
That's not
I
bad.
know like I know like bucks and cabs are like around hovering around the 2 grand mark,
Mhm.
which is also another reason why someone might want to do all age. It's way cheaper.
Oh yeah,
Like blue
way
coats is
cheaper.
what? Phantom blue coats are $5,000 for a summer. Not everybody can pull scrape that amount of money together in however much time it is
I
before
don't
season
under,
starts.
I
I
don't see
can't
how
pay for
people
that.
can do it. I
Yeah,
don't
I
get
don't know
it.
how
Because
unless
Boston is
unless
6,000 this year.
exactly. So it's like
Like,
people have, if you want to march an all age corps, it would make sense because it's way cheaper. People can, yeah, it's a lot of money, but people can afford to march for $1,200. Or if you can scrape that together, with work and you get a scholarship and stuff like that, that might help it out. You can fundraise and everything, but you don't. That's not out of the realm of possibility for a lot of people. It might be a little bit of a stretch, but you might have time. And Sabres are going to work with you. They're not going to be like, oh, we need $1,200 right now. I need you to pay it all off. They you can pay, throughout the season as I like any organization would want to do that, but they they like to they like to get make sure people have a way to pay for all their stuff, which
mhm.
is which is obviously they want to be as helpful as possible, but you would do we they operate in a bingo hall, so people have to go work their bingos, which can
Oh,
be a
okay.
kind of a pulling teeth moment with the directors of, you guys got to work your bingos and you guys are working your bingos and we're reminding you to do it and everyone has to do it and everything, and people, yeah, it's not fun. I don't like doing it either, but it's like, you have to do it because if you do it, you get money off. So that's kind of the
Oh,
trade-off.
okay.
If you do
Nice.
that, you get discount a little bit. So it might not help, it's only like a little bit, but it's
Mhm.
money off. So
Yeah,
take it when you can
exactly.
get it. So
Yeah.
everyone has to work their bingos, and you might hate it, you might not like it, whatever. But everyone has to do it, and if you don't do it, then you don't get to do what everyone else does, and they don't get to go on the field. So you
Oh,
have
okay.
to you have to do your bingos. That's like,
Mm.
it's, you sign up for this, you pay your money to be here, you're having a lot of fun, but you got to do your bingos.
Okay.
So it's like it's not that big of a trade off. It's only like a few out of a season, so it's like it's not that bad, but
Yeah.
it helps with the tuition. It's only, a couple $100 they might take off or whatever. But it can help somebody out a lot if they're struggling to pay
Mm.
for it, and they do that, and it takes, 100, $200 off. It helps a lot.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. That's
yeah.
awesome. Cool. Any additional thoughts before we close out the podcast?
Um, I've been um I've been kind of fighting with myself if I want to not announce, but I'm leaning towards Buccaneers this year.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I'm planning to go to the open house in December. I
Nice,
think it's the first.
nice.
So I got a month and a half to go. About um I don't know. This will be my last year before life starts to really get going for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to kind of this is my last chance. So I want to kind of go see what I can get out of it, and I want to go get I'd like to march with them.
That'd be
We'll see
cool.
how that happens though. But I've got my technique packet right here, so I'm
Nice.
practicing that at home. So um,
Oh, there you go.
I'm
Cool.
I'm I'm looking at it so far. Um, I think that's it. I just wanted to make kind of. I haven't really officially said it yet. I've kind of alluded to it a little bit, like I posted off my Instagram story about, like, oh, here's a Buccaneers registration, and it's like I was kind of like alluding, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of I've kind of waited to make my decision, and I think I'm kind of making it official that I plan to go there. Obviously, if I don't um if I audition I don't get in or something else comes up, I'll change my mind. But
Okay.
as of right now, I'm kind of planning on heading in that direction. Um, as it's something I've always wanted to march with them.
Mm.
I've always wanted to. So I think that would be, I get one last shot. I might as well, go for it, because once next year ends, I'm not gonna be able to march anymore after that.
Okay.
Um, I'm kind of trying to give it all right now, so
Oh, there you
I
go.
can,
Cool.
I did it, and now I'm done. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm going for.
Oh,
So
okay. Now, are you planning to help out if after you're done marching in 2025
so
or?
what I'd like to have happen is I'm planning on moving. I'm planning on moving down south. So
Oh,
it's gonna
okay.
be. I'd like to move to Florida.
Hmm.
Is what I'm gunning for. So I know there's Fusion down there, but now they've moved down to Orlando. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I wanna. I think I might want to be done, like done
Oh,
done.
okay.
Like I thought
Okay.
I was gonna be done after this year,
Hmm.
and then it announced that we're gonna go not this year, after 23. I thought I
Last
was gonna be
year.
done with
Okay.
it. Yeah. And then they said, we're going DCI and Lucas Oil. Now I'm pulled back in, right? So now I want to do it. And then I think once I do next year, then I'm gonna move and everything. So that's gonna kind of complicate things. And
Oh,
then
okay.
so I think that's gonna be what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna see if I can't give Bucks a shot and see how I do there. And then I think I'm gonna hang it up after that, and I'm gonna just
Oh,
kind of leave
okay.
it how it is.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I don't want to, I don't want to, drag it on, and when, like, guys go past retirement and they're like, okay, this guy should be in retirement now. He's been there for, like, yeah, I don't want to go down that
Mm-hmm.
road. I want to
Oh,
just,
okay.
he did a few good years, did really good. I marched to some really cool shows, performed at some really cool places, and then it's like I'll just leave it. Like it's I'm gonna
Yeah.
leave it how leave it a high note. I don't want to leave it like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you do this, you might, I don't know, do some certain things, and then you might like ruin relationships. I don't want to do that, obviously. So
Yeah.
I want to kind of leave on a high note where it's like, yeah, everyone thought he was, really good marcher and he played really good, and I just want to kind of leave it how it is. Is
Very
is
cool.
is what
Very
I'm gonna
cool.
say.
Okay. Nice. Well, I hope you get in the Bucks. That'd be awesome. And I
Yeah,
wish you the
well,
best. And
I'm gonna keep everybody posted on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. So um pretty sure people who will watch are gonna watch this are gonna or at least friends with me on Facebook, so they'll probably be able to hear. But I'm gonna keep right posted. I don't know when audition day is. I don't know. I don't know how they do auditions or how they do
Yeah.
any of that stuff since it's different. I've heard
Mhm.
that I've talked to a few guys who have marched there, and I know that they get a lot more people than Sabres does. So it's going
Mhm.
to be different for me, as I might have to actually um not I'm gonna have to actually work for my spot in the line. I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna be, oh, I'm
Yeah.
just guaranteed a spot because I don't have anybody else. I'm gonna have to
Mhm.
actually fight. Not I'm gonna have to fight for it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
Exactly.
be like,
Exactly.
I need to actually try. Not I'm not just guaranteed a spot because I'm here. You know.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's gonna be different for me. I don't think I have a problem, but I'm gonna have some people who I'm gonna have to actually put in some work for, which will be cool. I'm excited for that because I wanna be in um in a core where everyone cares about what they do. And I'm not talking about the staff, I'm talking about the people who march on the field.
Mhm.
Because
Oh yeah.
I've there's some people who I clash with personally who don't give it their all,
Mhm.
and like I'm giving it their all, everyone else giving their all, and you're not. So, and then we all get yelled at for it, or whatever,
Yeah.
or because you're not giving your all, but I am, and I get reamed
Mhm.
for it. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking for people who are not the Sabres,
There
not
for the
people
right
at Sabres who
reasons.
aren't into it. Is that the people who
Mhm.
everyone there because they want to be there, not because they have to be there.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but because like maybe people who are there because their parents want them to be there, or their girlfriend's in it, or their boyfriend's in it, or
Mhm.
whatever, and then they don't care. They're only there because their significant others there. They're not there because they want to be there. They're there because they have to
Yeah.
be there. So I think
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
with being with
Exactly.
more people who want to be there, not just have to be there,
Mhm.
is gonna jive better with me personally. And
Mm.
I can tell you, a lot of the people at Sabres, I'm not calling anybody out, is are love to be there. It's just the
Mm.
one or two people that throw it off for me. It's like if not
Mhm.
everybody is in the same boat, if you have people who are like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, aren't sure if they want to commit fully, it's
Yep.
like, do you want to commit or you don't want to commit? Like
Exactly.
it's like
Exactly.
you need to decide if you're going to commit or you're going to not commit, because
Mhm.
if you're not going to,
Don't be here.
then exactly, then why are you paying all this money and all this time to be here if you're not going to commit?
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
that's kind of my reasoning. And also I just want to I've always wanted to march there, and I've always wanted to give them a shot and see how they're like. Um, so
Cool.
yeah,
Very cool. All right, Eli. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, and I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on. It's been a good time.
Thank you very much. All right. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Roundup, and I hope you have a great day. Bye bye.